This instructional video is on textbook pages 204 and 205. Sketch of a graph of a function to help describe its behavior. The graph can show the relationship between two quantities. Between two variables and whether they are increasing, decreasing, or staying constant. How do you know which variable goes with which axis when you graph? The input value goes on the x-axis, and the output value goes on the y-axis. Determine the slope of a graph. If the values are increasing, then it's going to be a positive slope. If the values are decreasing, it's going to be a negative slope. And if the values don't change, then it's going to be a constant slope. Number 4, a class plants a tree. Sketch the graph of the height of the tree over time. So first you have to identify the two variables. The input value, which is x, is going to be time, or the number of years. The output value, what happens, is going to be the growth of the tree, the height. Part B, how can you describe the relationship between the two variables? The height of the tree increases as time increases. So the tree grows as time is going on. And for part C, it says to sketch the graph. So we know at year 0, it's 3 feet. So if my years are across the bottom and my height is going up the y-axis, at year 0, my tree is 3 feet tall. At 3 years, my tree is 7 feet tall. That's my second piece of information. And then we can connect our dots to make our line. Number 5, an airplane takes 15 minutes to reach its cruising altitude. The plane cruises for that altitude for 90 minutes and then descends for 20 minutes before it lands. Sketch the graph of the height of the plane over time. So it takes 15 minutes to reach its cruising altitude, so the airplane is going up. Then it cruises at that altitude, meaning it stays there for a period of time. And then it descends. Descends means it goes down for 20 minutes until it lands. What relationship between money and time does this graph show? So because this graph is going up and down at random times and at random amounts, none of it is the same, we could say that the amount of money increases and decreases irregularly. Irregularly means at different times. When a new laptop became available in the store, the number sold in the first week was high. So we're going to put a high point at the first week. Sales decreased over the next 2 weeks. So again, we want a lower point by the time we get to week 3. They remained steady over the next 2 weeks. So again, 4 and 5 are just going to be a flat line. They're just consistent. And then the following week, week 6, the total number sold by the store increased slightly, so just a little bit higher. Drives to the gas station and fills up her tank. Then she drives to the market. Sketch the graph that shows the relationship between the amount of fuel in the gas tank of her car and time. So when she starts, she has some gas, but not a lot. So we're going to start about midway up the line. She drives to the gas station, meaning we are losing gas. She then fills up her tank, which means she puts gas in the tank, meaning our tank is now full. And then she drives to the grocery store. So again, we are losing gas in the tank at that point. Melody starts at her friend's house and rides her bike for 10 minutes. She stays at her friend's house for 60 minutes. So if we leave the house, and then at 10 minutes, we're going to draw a line of her riding her bike. And then from 10 minutes to 60 minutes, we are going to show a straight line to show that she is not moving anymore and that she stays constant at her friend's house. Which description best represents the graph shown? So we can recognize here that there are 1, 2, 3 periods of constant time, meaning they are not moving. The total number of people is not changing. So people are not getting on the train, people are not getting off the train. It's just the same amount. So for that first section to be a constant amount of people, it's not going to be letter B, where one train arrives and some people get off the train. Because again, we have this constant amount of people. So both A, C, and D start with people are waiting for a train. So that's a good section for number 1. In the next section, highlighted on the graph here, going down, that's going to mean that we are losing people. So that means that people are not waiting. So a train comes and some people get on. That could happen. Part C, everyone gets on that train. Well, that's not true. Not everybody does. And then part D, a train comes and some people get on the train and other people wait for the train. So that is still a possibility, as those two sentences match. A train comes for some people to get on, and then other people wait for the next train. So the differences between part A and D. A says as time goes by, people gradually leave the station, but that's not what happens. In part D, this last section, it is a very drastic drop, meaning we're going to follow the last sentence of part D. Another train arrives and all the remaining people get on. D is our correct